Oh, and it's taken a while. Hey, and we are
Hey.
live. I'm here with Darlene Riley, who has actually been a guest on my podcast in it previously. And today we're just going to really talk about why should you even think about starting a podcast in 2024? You know, if there really isn't a better time than now to get started. They say over 62% of people in the States have listened to a podcast. That was 2022. 62%. And they reckon by next year, 2024, the industry is going to be worth $4 billion.
Wow.
So, you know, that's a big enough reason to get started. And as far as I can see, this is just the best platform to actually get your message out, to showcase how you can get whatever results that you are offering your clients anyway, and the opportunity to demonstrate how you can do it. So it really is building on the know, like, and trust. The problem with social media is that if you're anything like me, you scroll. I scroll. I love things because I want to support people. I may not necessarily be their ideal client. So when you're posting out on social media, the same could be happening to you. People are just supporting you, who love you, which is great. It's great for the ego, but is it driving sales? You know, we've scrolled and then it's gone. The beauty with podcasts is that it is evergreen. People can go back and listen to previous podcasts, and it really is an opportunity for you, especially if you're a coach, a consultant, therapist, or healer. If you set it up correctly, you can use it to funnel people into your world, get them off of social media onto your list. That is your asset, so that you can go deeper and serve these people and turn the listeners into clients.
Yes.
So, Donalyn,
Yes.
you have had your podcast as well. So how long ago did you start yours?
Yes. So I started my podcast, Finding Your Spark Again, about a year and a half ago. And I just want to piggyback on what you were just saying, though, about how you have these resources forever. Because I will say that I meet people all the time who are not my ideal client, right? But who want to know what I know and who need a part of what I know. But it's not the part that is the core of my business. And a lot of that information about how you work with certain emotions, because that's my business, right, is in the podcast. And I send people to the podcast and different parts of the podcast all the time because what they need is there, right? And then they may become ideal customers. They may, but they may just get what they need, right? And so it's this way of both generating business and also being able to be of service without taking another hour for another free session, right? Because how many of those have you done? Yeah.
Absolutely. But then also what you've said there is great, because what it can do is then not just attract your ideal client, but it can actually create them. Because like you say, if somebody just needed a bit of information, they may never have thought that they'll even want to be a client, but they needed that bit of information. The more you can show up and serve, eventually they may become a client. But everybody's going to be on, they're a different part of the journey. Not everybody is ready to buy now. And the beauty is that you can use the podcast to bring these people on slowly without any pressure, because they're listening in their own time. Nobody's seeing that they're listening, because, you know, again, that can be another thing with social media. People might not be liking or commenting, but they're watching, but you don't know that.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. That's right. In fact, a lot of times the people who really need what you're doing are the people who would never click like, right? Or put a comment on, right? They're those people who are like, I don't really want anybody to know that I'm struggling with this, but I do really need a solution. And so if I can listen to a podcast where I hear over and over again the voice of someone who's helping me solve these initial problems, they absolutely are getting ready to be a client. Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
safe way for the listener as well, isn't it? To come on this journey with you. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it's a great way to solve all those early problems that you've gotten tired of in your practice, right? Where you go like, okay, but I really want to do this other work, right? How do I get these people? You make them. But you don't have to make them one session at a time.
No, that's right. It's an opportunity to just keep showing up, serving the listeners, giving them information, showing how you can transform their lives too. That then slowly, when the time is right, they're ready. They're more likely, when they do get on a call with you, they're going to be ready to buy. It's not wasting your time either.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I will say, my show is an interview show. So I get to interview other practitioners so I end up talking about things that I would never talk about, right? And that are so important on the journey to the place where you want what I've got to give to this world, right? And also it serves those other people that I'm interviewing. Right. So there's like this give back, win that's happening. Right.
You just said it there. It's all about the win-win, because I know what I found is through interviewing. Okay, we're coming up to the 200th episode. Is that even when a guest sends me their bio, I might have this perception in my mind what it is they do. And it's actually only when they come on and they share exactly how they get whatever transformation they're offering, and that's completely different to what my perspective was from their bio. And so having a podcast, inviting them to share, is a fantastic way to really, really explain what it is they do, who they help, how they help. And it's going to encourage people to come and try that much more than just writing stuff on your website, having a copywriter explain what you do. It's only when people actually talk about it and give, testimonials or sort of showcase what they do that you go, right, that's what that does. And that's why that helps. So yes, it's a great
And that's who that's for.
Way.
That's the other piece of it is like, who are you working with, right? And a lot of times that piece tells a real nuanced story about how you're working with people. But unless you start talking about it, there's no way to know. Yeah, no way to know. So I am super
conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I am super interested in how you started your podcast. What inspired you?
Well, for me, it was, so I've done things backwards. So I'm going to be, fully transparent here. I didn't start my podcast with end in mind. It came out of lockdown, and it was a little bit not in alignment with what it is I do now, because I wasn't doing it back then. So I thought a coffee with Karen, a cup of positivity with just a sprinkling of woo-woo. I thought it was a really cool name at the time. And it was in alignment with my values. I am very much, I would consider myself a student of the self-development arena. I love talking about, quantum physics and things, and then things that are a little bit more woo-woo. However, it meant that there was confusion with what I actually did as a business, because I was trying to do so many different things. So last year, when the owner of the radio station had my show on, offered the station to me, because he said at the end of my contract, he was giving it up. I jumped at the chance because I had this vision. The reason was every different coach, consultant or therapist were all doing different things, serving different, some were dealing with men going through a divorce, or this person was dealing with women with, childhood trauma. Everybody was doing different things, solving different programs, solve different problems, but with this title coach. And I thought, nobody is in competition with each other. Why don't we collaborate more? And I didn't know how to do that. So when the radio show came up, I was like, great, I have a platform for all these different people to get their message heard. But I feel like I failed them. And I'll tell you for why, was that I wasn't serving enough. I was just providing the platform. So what I found was that many, actually I have 3 that signed up and never actually published their first episode. And then others dropped off because they weren't getting an ROI. So in their eyes, this was just a bit of a headache having a podcast. It was something on top. So I thought something needed to be done, and I needed to do more to help them because they weren't having the kind of success I was having. So we wanted to offer a more of a done for you, done with you, because I'm sure you will agree, Donna-Lynn, that starting a podcast is a little bit more than just speaking into a mic.
Oh, it would be really nice if it wasn't. But it is a lot of work unless you have the team behind you. It's...
Oh, have I lost you? I don't know if that's me or you. Are we still live? Are we going to get you back?
Calculation, and you hear...
Oh, I lost you there. No, I lost you there, Donna-Lynn.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost you. Say that again.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. It is a ton of work. It's a ton of work. And I came from a background where I was like, I like to diddle on the software. So, when I started it, I did it all by myself. And it's a ton of work. And you're absolutely right that if you're not doing the parts that are right for your business, then you're just diddling around with software, kind of talking to people, and you're not getting anywhere. And so I would love to hear what this process is that you came up with that made it have some ROI.
Well, and I can't, it wasn't my idea. So I got a coach, right? There you go. There's a clue, right?
Yeah.
We all, whether you're whatever coach you are, everybody needs a coach. And what I found that everything was not in alignment with what I was doing. So number one, we've changed the name. So the name of my podcast is the Podcast Profits Unleashed podcast, right? What I do through the podcast is drive people through into my freebie. I don't, as I was before, and as a lot of guests at the end of the show, you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Here's my website. No, instead, bring them into your world. Like the only thing you own, the asset that you have is your email list. If you drive them into your Facebook group, Facebook could change the rules tomorrow. People get hacked. People lose their groups. They get censored. They get stopped. You've got to find a way to bring them away from these platforms and into your world. But why should they come into your world? You've got to give them something. You've got to show up and serve. Give them something that is of value to them, that is in alignment with your podcast and with your whatever your signature program is. So you bring them into your world so that you have the opportunity to develop the relationship, to do more of a deep dive into what it is you do, so that then you can actually monetize it by either bringing them in as a one-on-one client or, we're running a virtual event. What better way to be able to spend a lot more time with people, to show up and serve, show up authentically, because this is the beauty, My virtual event there's no slides. It's not just teaching. It's interactive. It's a way to show up and serve, to demonstrate how you can help people further. Then you've got more of an opportunity to bring them into what it is you're selling. So that then you have the opportunity, every single episode is another opportunity to bring them into your world, is another opportunity to showcase what is the end result that you offer your clients. Now, like you, Donnalyn, I was just doing interviews. Now, yes, I will be doing some more solo episodes where I can give more tips and tools and strategies on how to design, create, grow, monetize your podcast so it's more in sync. So imagine if you just had to show up to record your episode and then just show up on calls with people who are actually ready to buy because they've been listening to you for a while. You haven't had to push them, coerce them, bug them, beg them to get on a call with you. But it's this softly approach so that you can bring them in and monetize at the end once you have demonstrated enough for them to realize that, okay, you do have the solution for me.
Yeah. And also we all know that as coaches, we all know that moment where somebody's eyes open real big, where they're like, oh, that's me. I recognize me now in your words. And your ideal client doesn't always recognize themselves in that one phrase that your copywriter gave you, right? You've got to say it a few different ways. And they go like, I had someone light up at something I said the other day. She has the exact same problem as my other ideal clients and yet did not light up at any of the regular words. And then I said this slightly different thing and she went, oh, that's what I have. That's what I have. That's what I feel like is my problem. And I thought, okay, so you've got to keep going at the nuances of what it is that people are struggling with and what it is that you can help them with, right? And that once you get those nuances going, then people can really see themselves in that. I love what you're talking about. This is so important, really. So tell me, what is it that kind of holds people back from being able to do this? I know what would have held me back. I know what almost held me back over and over again.
Oh, whoa.
So I love to know what people. So the thing that has been the hardest for me in starting the podcast and continuing the podcast, continuing it. That's the harder part, not the starting it, by the way. Doing the first episode seems hard. Doing the 70th episode is not a piece of cake, right? But the big thing is that there's so much work on your plate if you're the one doing it all, right? And even if you have other solutions and you go like, okay, I hired an editor and I have somebody doing the transcript and I've got all these things, like it's a lot of management. It's a lot of time getting on your WhatsApp and managing your people and whatever it is. So that's what I would think is, now I'm guessing about other people because I don't talk to other people about it, but what holds people back?
I think there's so many. I mean, I know for me, there was definitely imposter syndrome. And if I was starting it now, maybe there would be even more, because when I did start Coffee with Karen, it was all about the guest. And I'm great at bigging other people up. Yeah. Doing it for myself can be a slightly different thing. So I can imagine that imposter syndrome. Who's going to listen to me? Is what I'm offering, is it going to be enough value? So some people will be going through all these kind of limiting beliefs. And the thing is, just start. The beauty is, the way I see it is, it's a fun way. I just love it. I love the people that I've met. I've met some incredible people that I would now consider friends. It opens up for more opportunities. So it's just about getting started.
I
Just
like that.
do the thing. And because that's the only way we learn, right? I don't think I'd like to listen to my first couple of podcasts. It does
No,
get
no,
easier.
no. Yeah,
But
yeah,
also, yes, definitely the tech overwhelm, I think, stops people, the time aspect, because they think, oh, it's going to take so much time. And, what you're talking about, post-production side of it, yeah. I mean, in the beginning, that was so much, which is why we have gone for a done for you, done with you. And as you know, there are two ways, right? You either spend your time or you spend your money, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
either got to do it yourself, and that's eating into your time. So the first thing I would say is, what is your vision of where your business will be, say, this time next year? What is it? How do you want to serve? Who do you want to serve? And what do you want your day to day to look like? Do you want to be spending all day in social media? I was teaching attraction marketing methods, but I didn't like doing it. I found it exhausting. I found it draining. But imagine if you could just turn up for your show. And then, because it is evergreen, because it is on, everything's going on autopilot, funneling them in to your, whatever it is, educational funnel or virtual event, however you want to show up, so that you will have extra time. Rather than it adding to, it can actually give you back your time if you set it up correctly. But in order to do this, no, you can't do it yourself. But we live in an age where there's so many tools at our disposal at this time to make all those extra things that you have to do to automate it. And I suppose that is really what we offer, is if you don't want to do it yourself, we can build it all out for you to save you time.
Yeah. And when you're talking about saving you time, I think a lot of times people think, oh yeah, this week I didn't spend 4 hours or whatever instead of half an hour. The time you're saving, the time that you're talking about, I think really is time in progress, as in addition to every week, what are you spending? Yeah. But also, how far can I get? How fast? Right? Because when you have good people, in the theater, we used to have a saying, good, cheap, and fast, pick any two. Right? And that was the whole idea. Like, if you want it to be cheap and fast, then it's probably not going to be very good. And so your ramp is going to be a really long time. And if it takes a lot of your time, so it's not fast, but it's cheap, it's still going to take a really long time because you're not doing all those other things in your business. So opening your wallet a little bit and saying, okay, I'm willing to dedicate a certain amount of money to this process that I know generates clients who are ready clients, right? Clients who already know who you are and what you're talking about and want what you have. Then that sort of, okay, pick which would you like? Would you like to spend all your time and energy and have your ramp be like, okay, 3 years from now, I'm going to be getting a client out of this, right? or would you like it to be a much shorter ramp, right?
Well, there you go. It's speed of implementation.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, look, it took us a long time to get here. And I suppose because it wasn't my driving force, it wasn't, like I said, I did everything backwards. But now we're here. We're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I love that you're talking about, I love that you're talking about resilience, right? What you're talking about when you talk about your podcast is this fundamental skill that coaches have to have, which is resilience and sort of decoupling our identity from the thing that we're doing. Because if you get stuck, if you're like, I know that this is the right thing, and then you're still doing it a year later and it's still not working, then that resilience that you're not practicing is what's standing in the way of you being able to go like, oh, I see now that what the way that I was doing the podcasting needs to be adjusted. I found the right process. I can share the right process with other people, right? But as coaches, we have to be able to say, hey, you know what? I don't know every dang thing. And I need to reach out to somebody who already made all the mistakes so that I know what to avoid and how to get to the thing that I really want, as opposed to that joy of figuring out all the mistakes on your own. Right.
Yeah, there you go. There's a shortcut, you see. There's a shortcut.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I'm so glad that you're bringing this into the world. It's really good. It's really good. So what can we do? What do we do next?
Well, I am doing, and I think Donna's going to put the link in the comment. I am doing a virtual event on the 7th of November. It's a 4-hour live virtual event. It starts, so that's 1 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 5 p.m. if you're in the UK.
Thank you. Thank you for making it some American time that we can go to. I appreciate that.
Isn't this interesting? You know, the beauty of podcasting, you don't know who's going to be listening in. And it's only now I can look at my statistics. I have more followers in the US than I do in the UK. Isn't that funny? Sometimes it can't be a prophet in your own backyard.
It's true.
So yeah, of course I'm going to serve the people who want it, right? So the virtual event is more of a deep dive into how to set this up for your business. Whatever signature program you have, you're going to come away with a blueprint on how this whole process works, how to align your podcast to your vision, to your purpose, to your signature programs, that everything is in alignment. What kind of educational funnel are you going to bring them into? What about you putting on virtual events? You know, selling one to many. Now, although my virtual event, there is no pitch at the end. And the reason being is, for what we actually do, we do need to have a conversation. We do need to know where you are. We have a variety of options to suit people depending on how much time they've got, what their budget is. So for us, we're not doing a pitch. However, for a lot of people, doing a virtual event and pitching your offer at the end is the best way to do it. Imagine just having certainty that you're going to get so many sales once a month so that you can be detached from the outcome. You don't have to do, 50 sales calls. Instead, you can have 50 people in the room, right? Yeah. Where you have the opportunity to really do a deep dive in what it is that you're offering. And so that is what we are doing. So this live virtual event is going to, by the end of it, you're going to have your particular blueprint, your particular business. We are going to obviously go over, the boring stuff like, what do you need, the tech stuff, but more about the blueprint of it. Then we'll talk about strategies to actually grow, because once you've got all this in place, it is a case of just increasing your listeners, increasing the downloads. What are the monetization strategies? Because there are many. There isn't a one size fits all. Some people, you might have affiliate programs to promote. You might have merchandise. You could have, inspirational quotes on mugs to sell or T-shirts. There's lots of things you can do. But the main point of using your podcast to drive sales is to get them into your signature program. If you don't have one, well, think about starting one. You can create one, have your own membership site. So that is on the 7th. It is free. There is a VIP option. If you are a little bit more ready and you want specific questions answered, we'll be doing a Q&A at midday Eastern time. And there'll be, if you need it, some individual coaching throughout. But otherwise, come and join us. And you know, even if you're just thinking about it, once you get your blueprint ready to start, maybe for 2024, you know, there isn't, as I said, you know, the time is now to get on this before it's too late.
Yeah. And so this is so important, what you're talking about in terms of making a plan before you do it. Right? Because the thing is, like, I, like you, started backwards, right? I thought to myself, I need to tell people what's happening. I need to, you know, talk about this particular thing that is going on in my life, and in this way that there are a lot of tools available to them. Yes, this is what I want to do. I want to give this information away. But when you start to realize that, first of all, you can drain yourself with just that plan. Like, I'm just going to get on there and talk, you know? But in addition, you really aren't serving your clients or your future clients to the level that they need until you actually make this plan, right? When you go into it and you have like a plan, you go like, oh, I need a blueprint of how to monetize. But the monetizing, it's important because we all have to eat, don't get me wrong. But the real advantage to monetizing for you as a coach isn't that you're going to be able to feed your family. Important. First step, check, right? But more important is that you cannot serve your clients if they're not your clients. You can't get the real transitions in their lives with them and for them unless they are here with you and you are being able to be comfortable and, you know, in out of the heat and the rain and all of the things while you're speaking to them, right? And that's the whole goal. It's like, how do we be comfortable enough to be of service in the world and to really serve them? Because telling them for the 50th time the same thing that you told them in all the other posts before, it's not working, or they would have already done it and they wouldn't still be hitting the like button, right?
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's the difference between just giving information versus if you can bring them into your world and give them an experience. So imagine this, if you know, had more of a virtual event, especially if you are some kind of therapist where you've got tools that you can take them through rather than talking about how wonderful this modality is for helping XYZ. If you brought them in and you had a little bit longer to create the experience for them so that they come away with something, do you think they're going to be more encouraged and more ready to actually come and work with you because they've had that deep dive? So you can drive all this from your podcast into your world, have a deep dive with you, so that actually by the end of it, they're going to know whether you're the right person or not to help them with XYZ.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So the link is in the comments, both on Facebook and on YouTube. So just click the link and sign up for free. It's free. Like, you know, spend 4 hours of your life and get a whole new opportunity for how can you make the coaching business either work in your life, which sometimes people really struggle with, or get it to that next level. Right. Where you can start to offer things that you really wish you were able to have the time to offer. Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Donovan, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to add your link. So guys, I will come into Facebook and LinkedIn and sorry, not LinkedIn, YouTube, and add the link. And I look forward to seeing you on the 7th. Thank you, Donovan, for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.